This when you know the money is dried up. This when you know the money is dried up for certain in certain fields. This when you know that the money is dried up. Whether it be in the computer field, the website. Remember when websites were a big thing? People had their own little website company. Remember when apps were a big thing before it got real saturated? Everybody was trying to launch or start their own company that build apps. Now you got like apps now that can make apps themselves. Even like Bitcoin and crypto and all that kind of stuff. Which crypto I think is still profitable, you know what I mean? But I don't know, like for instance, like I used to drive Uber, and I noticed before I stopped doing it that when Uber first started, motherfuckers was making bread off of Uber, man. Uber, like the first 5, 6, 7 years of Uber, I would say maybe the first 6, 7, 8 years of Uber, people were making bread. And I noticed when people were making good bread doing Uber, you always saw a lot of white people doing it. You know what I'm saying? As the bread, that's why I stopped doing Uber, because the bread got low. When the bread got funny with Uber and they started taking more and more of the pie, because before Uber used to take 10 to 20, and then they started taking 20. From what I heard right now, they're taking 61%. So they're taking more than half of the profit of each ride from the drivers. So this motherfuckers ain't making no money with Uber no more. And then another how you can tell when the industry is dried up and the money ain't good, when the white people stop driving. When the white people stop messing with a certain industry that used to be profitable, that's when you know the money is gone. Because when I first started doing Uber, I was one of the first ones, the people that were doing Uber, because I heard they made good money. I was making shit $200 with Uber within 4 or 5 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like a part-time job. But motherfuckers was making $500, $600 a day easily. But when they started taking more of the cut, I noticed white people I started seeing less and less white drivers, to the point now I don't see no white drivers at all. You know what I'm saying? I used to see all kind of young college students, kids fresh out of high school driving Uber, businessmen driving Uber, that part-time side hustle, white men, white women. Shit, all I see now that's drive Uber is Latinos, immigrants, and black people. You know what I'm saying? And usually by that time, the money ain't no money in it no more. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no money in it no more once you start seeing that shit. But like I said, I still drive it off and on. That's why I know. And I still got friends that drive Uber. And they tell me, it's like, man, and I'm like, of course, motherfucker, the white people are gone. Once the white people are gone from it, it's a wrap, nigga. Ain't no more money in it no more. Remember when websites were a big thing? It was people if you knew how to build a website back when everybody having a website, you know, this was before Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. It was having a website. People can go to your website and buy stuff. It was the era of drop shipping. You know, not drop shipping, but drop ship is another thing. But it was the era of the e-commerce. So people were making Grand Theft Auto, and white people were leading the charge because it was a new industry. Man, once, you know, websites became saturated, everybody had a website, and you know, the money in building websites got real because there was so much competition. Everybody was. They had classes that would teach you how to build websites. But the more and more people got these classes, knew how to build websites, you know, the demand went down because your neighbor was building the website. Your cousin down the street had a website building company. It became oversaturated because everybody and their mama knew how to build websites. But when it was only a few people knew how to build websites and everybody wanted websites, everybody wanted a website, man, people were making money hand over fist. It was mainly white folks. But as soon as it got saturated and everybody and their mama knew how to build a website, like, go now and try to start a website company. You're going to make $5 a month, if that. Ain't finna make no money. I remember back when people were making money off Amazon, when Amazon would sell books, used new books. And then they started branching off into products. You know what I'm saying? Before, people don't realize back in the day, Amazon, 15, 16, 17 years ago, Amazon would be where you just would buy books. That's what kids would buy books. Like, instead of going to the bookstore and spending $100 and some for a used textbook that you needed for a class, you would just go on Amazon and buy somebody that just graduated who still had the book, that knew their students. And Jeff Bezos was smart. People who graduated, they could take their old textbooks and sell it back to new students for half the price instead of them going to the used bookstore. And they try to cut their head off. They were undercutting the bookstores, the old college students. So they was reselling their books to the new students for real cheap. But they was, you don't need this book no more. You graduated college. This geometry book that you paid $150 for this class. You graduating high school, you don't need that book no more. Let me see if I can get at least some money back for this old ass book. I know some kids are gonna need this book that ain't trying to pay $150. So people were making money hand over fist off of used and old books and stuff like that. They would find them and buy them cheap and turn around and sell them high on Amazon. A lot of white boys are getting rich off that shit. You know what I'm saying? Left and right. You know what I mean? But now, man, shit, everybody and their mama shelling stuff on Amazon. Got an independent Amazon store and selling products and stuff. It's thousands of people all over the world selling stuff on Amazon. So, you know, every time I look on YouTube, you have a couple of white people here and there, but for the most part, it's all different minorities trying to slang some stuff on YouTube. And they probably making money, but they weren't making money like them white boys when they first started. They was making thousands of dollars a week selling shit off of Amazon. That's what I'm saying. That's when you can tell a industry is dried up as far as the money being good. When you see lack of white folks doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because they gonna go where the big money at. You know what I mean? Same thing with Amazon. I mean, same thing with Uber and Lyft and all these other little ride share, DoorDash. You know what I'm saying? I remember DoorDash, those motherfuckers making $300 a day doing Instacart and DoorDash. Shit, now, barely probably 100. I mean, maybe in other markets, of course in other markets a lot more profitable than others, you know what I'm saying? But I know in California, well, Southern California, I think in Northern California, where a lot of these apps and stuff and tech companies are started, they make good money. But places like Seattle and other places like that where it's, you know what I'm saying, it's hard for you to make it. Like LA, it's hard for you to make $1 off of rideshare apps. And, you know, the food apps and stuff like that. But yeah, that's when I knew it though, that money dried. I said, I just see a lot of white people doing Uber. In Hollywood, you'll see them parking and posted up on their phone, standing outside. I said, I don't see that. I don't see it. I started to really look around and realize, like, damn, I don't see that no more. You know what I'm saying? I don't see no white college kid, no white girl just graduated college and she trying to make a little bit of money to start her life before she start her new career. You don't see that no more. You know what I'm saying? Housewives that just want to make a little extra cash while the kids in school and their husband at work. You don't see that no more. I'm like, okay, well, the money gone. Because once they leave, ain't no money wherever once they leave, trust me, if they was making good money, they ain't leaving. You know what I mean? They ain't finna work like I is and work 12 hours to get $100. They ain't used to that. They want to work 12 hours and make 1,000. You know what I'm saying? They ain't finna work 12 hours and barely make ends meet. That be y'all dumb ass. Our minority ass trying to, you know what I'm saying? White people gonna go where the money at. They ain't finna just slave for no chump change. So that's when I realized, oh, ain't no more money in Uber. The white people gone. The white folks gone. The money is gone, baby. Once they leave, the money is gone. You know what I'm saying? That's not started making arrangements. Let me try to put things in place so I can figure out another way to make some paper. Because this industry is dead. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. Peak game. What y'all think? Let's talk about it in the comments. Hit the thumbs up button.